Hi, folks. Welcome back to Critical Corner. I'm going to have an attitude. Enough is enough. These media-controlled monsters. Sonny Houston blasts un-American Trump voters who back racist, homophobic candidate. Then goes on to say, I'm not saying that 50% of Americans are racist and sexist and homophobic. This needs to stop. The American people are getting mugged. And we're allowing it to happen. Every single show, every single newscast that doesn't condemn and actually promotes the ridiculousness of the last few days of the Democrat Party with this massive mail voting. It's a scandal, folks. It's a scandal. I can't use the word I want to use because this video will probably be banned. Well, you know what? Too effing bad. It's the truth. It's a travesty. And here's the thing. You anti-Trump people are a little wishy-washy on Trump. This isn't about Donald Trump. This is about the United States of America and our free elections. Absolute travesty. Every single person out there right now that's listening, and pass the word along to whoever you can, no matter how low a level elected official they are, from dog catcher to city council member to mayor to county executive, governor, Congress member, U.S. senator, and everything in between. Anybody that's got a D in front of their name, if they don't come out publicly and start condemning this craziness and this nonsense that's destroying this country, you will never vote for them or Democrat again. The people that are saying nothing are just as complicit as the monsters that are manipulating this. The cable news, mainstream media monsters. The Twitter and Facebook billionaire monsters. They are stifling our speech. They are controlling our government. We're losing control of it. The people are in charge, not these idiots. We've allowed it to happen. It needs to stop, and only you can stop it. Let me read on. ABC News The View host Sonny Houston feels that over 68 million Americans voted for President Trump are selfish because they voted for someone who she says is racist, misogynistic, and homophobic. They went on just to blast the president. Oh, let's take half of our viewers and alienate them, you idiot. And she goes on to criticize him. I mean, he's responsible for the Lindbergh kidnapping, and you name it, JFK assassination, 9/11. I mean, unbelievable. Houston then declared that half the country is looking the other way at the plight of 50% or more of the country by supporting Trump, mentioning the LGBTQ community, African Americans, immigrants, and victims of coronavirus. People have suffered because of Trump. They didn't suffer because of Trump. Latino, African American support for Trump has more than doubled in 4 years. Support in the minority community for Republican candidates has more than doubled in 4 years. Think about that for a minute. If he's a racist, he's the worst racist that ever lived, you idiots. And this isn't about Trump. This is about these people manipulating the facts, controlling you who you want you to vote for. Because unfortunately, the average American is too damn lazy to look up facts and then decide who to vote for. That's the reason why all these extra ballots all went one way. It's people that don't give a damn, that would never vote anyway. They just got a piece of paper in the mail, they filled it up, put a stamp on it. They don't have to get out of their chair. They can sit there in their underwear and watch TV and do that too. They could give a damn. Citizenship is a responsibility. They don't have any. That's why these guys did it. That's why these lockdowns. That's why this thing is dangerous. What are they going to pull next time? This is not about Donald Trump. It's about the next president they don't like. Or the next person running for president they don't like. They've never had anybody like Trump, and they don't know how to handle him, and they're out of control. They're putting our republic and our Constitution in jeopardy. They want to take a torch to the Constitution. This is enough. Call every single representative, anybody out there that's got a D in front of their name, and say to them, listen, I'm Joe Smith. I'm your constituent, whether it be a city council member or a U.S. senator and everything in between. Unless you come out and condemn this craziness that's going on with these ballots everywhere and illegality, God knows where. I mean, there's all kinds of reports floating all over the place, films, audio, undercover. Who the hell knows what really went on? Nobody does. And that was the entire point. To flood the mail with ballots. Flood them with ballots. So that way they would be overwhelmed, and they would have to extend and extend and extend and extend the deadlines for counting, so they can get as many ballots as they could. Are they legal? Are they illegal? I don't know. Who cares? Election day is election day. Now there's reports of a whistleblower that said a supervisor in a postal service, now he sent all the clerks away, did it himself. God knows how many other supervisors are involved nationwide, because the union hates Trump's guts. All the mail that came in after Election Day allegedly was stamped with November 3rd Election Day. That way it fit. This is out of control. And they knew this going in. They manipulated our entire democracy for power and control. Tell every single Democrat that represents you, unless they publicly come out and condemn this nonsense, you will never vote for them or another Democrat again. Ever. Opinion. Miranda Devine. Biden may steal 2020 election for the elitists, but Democrats will live to regret it. This is an opinion page, you two people. I get to report this. I get to talk about it. Somebody else's editorial and opinion. Try to ban this video. I'm a small podcast. I don't care. I have the same rights as anybody with 10 million subscribers. Let's be real. Goliath was never going to let David breeze through the rematch. Of course. The provinces for whom President Trump is an instrument, not an end in itself, were never going to have an easy time winning the 2020 election against the amassed might of the Democratic Party. The fake news media and allied pollsters, big tech, woke billionaires in the celebrity class united to stamp out the barbarian orange emperor. The chumps and ugly folk, as Joe Biden calls them, came out in their glorious millions from the American heartland on Election Day, and now we'll see if people power prevails. If the nationalist populist movement enabled by Donald Trump, but not defined by him, lives to fight another day against the crump globalist represented by its sad husk of Biden. Boy, that's well written. I like that a lot. I like her already. It boils down to Trump's belief that Democrats perpetrated widespread voter fraud in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and elsewhere to steal the election. I'm not saying there's voter fraud. I'm just saying what the president said in this lady's editorial. While even those in his own party urge him to lose gracefully, the president has every right to ensure election laws are enforced to prevent fraud. In fact, he owes it to the 68 million deplorables who voted for him. To that end, to the end, Trump has turned to an old ally, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, to lead a heroic legal challenge. And it is heroic. America's being mugged. In Wisconsin, 300 ballots went missing when the Willow Township municipal clerk went home sick and no one could find her. The Washington Post report. The Washington Post. Not exactly what I would call a conservative icon. The ballots eventually turned up yesterday with 157 for Trump and 114 for Biden. In Arizona, which was called early for Biden on election night, but the Trump campaign still says they can win, a data error claimed that 95% of the votes had been counted yesterday when only 86 had been. And the remainder reportedly were from Trump-heavy counties. So you can see that in such a close election, Trump's concerns, they're not frivolous. Fraud is corrosive, but also claiming where there is none. That's true, too. You have to be fair. Even though these monsters aren't fair, You have to be. If you're going to take the high ground and call these people out, you have to be fair yourself. Claiming fraud when there is none is corrosive as well. We will see where the lawsuits land. In any case, Biden as much as declared victory yesterday, saying that by the time the count is finished, I believe I will be the winner. We're winning in enough states to reach the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. You can't tell me that all the people in Wisconsin and all the people in Michigan, that Trump had a small lead over Hillary Clinton. All turned. That high of a percent turned. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Trump's campaign claimed Wednesday that he had a path to victory if he keeps Pennsylvania and somehow Arizona comes back to him. But even if Trump does lose, it may be a blessing in disguise for Republicans. That's true. That's why I said earlier, call all of your local Democrat elected officials at any level from U.S. Senator all the way down the dog catcher and tell them if they don't condemn this nonsense publicly, you will never vote for them or another Democrat again. All they know is power. But the reality is you have the power to give to them. Stop giving them power. The result is crushed Democratic expectations of a clean sweep. It wasn't a landslide win against an unpopular president, as we have been told so confidently for months. That's right. If Biden wins, it'll be by the narrowest margin. And the hundreds of millions spent on retaking the Senate came to nothing, with the Republicans looking to hold on to the lead. The top targets, Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, survived easily. That one, I think it was Lindsey Graham's opponent, spent $100 million in South Carolina. That's insane. And still lost. The fact miscalculations of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and cynically refusing to negotiate on the latest stimulus bill have cost the Democrats dearly in the House. They have gone backward by at least 6 seats. Looks like might end up being 10 or 12, depending how the numbers fall. They did not manage to get rid of a single Republican. So much for the blue wave. I know here, I'm in upstate New York, Congressional District, New York 22, Claudia Tenney, who was beat 2 years ago by Anthony Brindisi. She's going to get her seat back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The failure means that in 2022, the House is more likely to revert to Republican control, setting up a lame duck presidency. That's right. The Democrats won't be able to pack the Supreme Court, abolish the Electoral College, or make D.C. and Puerto Rico states just so they can control and have power. They will struggle to impose a Green New Deal. Unfortunately, nothing can be done to stop a President Biden-Harris repeat of the geopolitical errors of the Obama presidency, such as appeasing China and Iran's mullahs and signing into a Paris Climate Accord. But a President Biden in cognitive decline will sooner or later be replaced by his unpopular, untested Vice President Kamala Harris. See, I said her name right. So sick of these people I could scream. They hate this country. Settle with the recession and policies that will only exhilarate economic decline. The next 4 years will hobble Democrats. Good. They deserve it. That's why anybody that's a Democrat, that's an elected person from local level all the way through the federal government, if they don't condemn this craziness, this dishonesty, you will never vote for them again, and make sure you tell them. And at least get 3 other people that you know to do the same thing, and they get 3 other people. Your voice, your vote is the power, not them. The flaws and hypocrisy will be on full display. They've been on full display for a long time, with a good chance of a 2024 presidential race being won by one of the new generation of Republican heirs of Trumpism. I believe in one thing, all Trump's criticisms. Republicans are bringing a knife to a gunfight for years. Well, we'll just keep our head, and the American people will see we're the level-headed ones, and we'll play by the rules. Those days are over. Those days are over. Let me repeat that again. Those days are over. And it's not your fault that they're over. They just are. You have to adjust to the times. Now, after you have control of everything, if you want to revert back, all right, I guess you could. But this is war now, and there's no such thing. is just standing by. Here's the thing. I learned this in local politics when I was a city councilman. When you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. These people stand for nothing. If you try to please everybody, you please no one. It's ridiculous. Stick by your principles. Let history record that on Sunday before the election, the New York Times declared that all 15 of their columnists suffered from mandatory Trump derangement system. All 15 of our columnists, quote, all 15 of our columnists explained what the past 4 years has cost America was the introduction to a carnival of woke-splaining. You morons. You sit in your ivory towers, in your nice desks, in your nice cars, in your nice apartments. Work for a living, you're fools. That's what you get when you fire opinion editors who publish conservatives. Whoever wins this election has exposed the frauds and liars who pose as our elites, and half of America won't forget it. I pray that's true. That's why I'm calling out all Democrats to say this is enough. I'm a Democrat. What's happened to my party? Either you condemn this or I'll vote you out. In a press conference in Philadelphia Wednesday, Giuliani laid out one clear anomaly in which, contrary to Pennsylvania law, Republican election observers were denied the right to oversee the counting of 120,000, not 120, 120,000 ballots by being forced to stand 20 to 30 feet away from where they were being counted. They're never able to see the ballot itself, never able to see if it was properly postmarked, properly addressed, properly signed on the outside. This went on for 20 hours. While all of you thought there was some kind of legitimate counting going on here in Philadelphia, it was totally illegitimate. He's not saying the votes were wrong. He's saying they got a right to observe, to make sure they're done properly. The illegitimate part was pushing them out. What are they trying to hide? They would never see the ballot itself. It's insane. Giuliani's team has launched a lawsuit in Wisconsin where he says that after election observers had gone home at 3 or 4 in the morning, about 120,000 ballots appeared, and they got counted. Isn't that an interesting? The Trump campaign also filed a lawsuit in Michigan Wednesday with campaign manager Bill Steppen claiming Republicans observers were denied meaningful access to numerous counting locations to observe the opening of ballots and the counting process as guaranteed by Michigan law. Here's the deal. Say a ballot comes in and it shouldn't be counted. You take it out of the envelope. You throw the envelope away. You put it in a pile. You don't get to check to see what the postmark is. You don't get to see anything. It's insane. It's insane. And they know that most of the mail ballots will break the Democrat way. America's being mugged. Being mugged. Enough is enough. You know, everybody has their breaking point. Everybody has their last straw. This is it. They are not the power. The media, the cable news, mainstream media, the Silicon Valley social media monsters, the real power lies with the individual voters. And you're getting screwed. You're getting screwed. It's as simple as that. And if you don't stand up, you're going to lose your rights. I don't know how else to put it. Speak slower, maybe. Use smaller words. You have to understand what's at stake here. This is not about Donald Trump. This is about the future of this country. I'm sorry if I sound mad, but I'm mad as hell. It's cost me everything personally. My business. I used to be a Democrat here, elected official. I switched to Republican years ago. Right down the street, lucky me, is the ultra progressive Working Families Party and their allies plot. That's basically their strong arm side. Said some horrible things, ruined my business, spray painted my building. I stand out front, I have a cigarette. I got people call me names. This is how they operate. They need to be stopped. They're dangerous. And this isn't just locally. These people are in charge of things now. Look what's going on. Don't put a blind eye into it. Well, it doesn't affect me. It does. It's your country. Do you want the same country that you grew up in for your kids and your grandkids? Then tell them to stop. Condemn this publicly. Do not vote for another Democrat for at least 2 years, and make it clear to the local Democrats and the federal level and state level why you're never going to vote Democrat for 2 years, because what they're pulling. And they say, well, we had no part in that. By saying nothing, these Democrats are complicit. Let me repeat that again. By saying nothing, these Democrats are complicit. Well, if we talk up, we'll get primaried next time and we'll lose our seat. Too bad. Too bad. There's something more important than your sorry asses. The future of the country is at stake. When the Civil War started in the North, people volunteered by the hundreds of thousands. They did it for the country. You know what? Stand up. I'm not even asking you to take a bullet. I'm just asking you to say the truth. If you think this is deplorable, who's the deplorables? You're out of your mind. This might be the last time. And by the way, for those Democrats that are laughing at this or think it's ridiculous, when Harry Reid made the nuclear option for 50 votes, they told him it would bite him in the ass later. Well, here we are, 3 Supreme Court justices later that got in with 50 or barely above votes. You get away with this, it's going to happen to you. And you know what? When it happens, shut the F up. We need to stand up and tell these people no. They pull this video down from YouTube, you know what? It'd be ridiculous. There's nothing I'm saying that isn't true. Well, folks, that's enough of my ranting. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.